Police stormed downtown Charlotte trying to calm protests that turned violent.
Tear gas clouds and fireworks erupting on the streets 2 days after the death of Keith Scott. But this morning, cleanup now begins on now quiet streets.
Hope Ford is there.
After a second night of protests in uptown Charlotte that left one protester shot by another and several members of law enforcement, media, and other protests injured, all that's left is shattered glass and broken windows. And as you can see, this is just one example. We're here at the Hilton Garden Inn in uptown Charlotte, a very similar situation we've seen at the NASCAR Hall of Fame and the Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant that's attached to it. And it's all because of this right here. It's written on the wall, "Rest in peace, Keith Scott, #Black Lives Matter." We're going to walk a little bit further, and as you can see over here, people are already starting to clean up their businesses just hours after protesters have left. Doors are smashed, windows smashed in. We were at the Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant a few minutes ago. Tables were overturned. It looked like people were able to get inside, even though the doors were locked up and signs were posted saying that they were closed for the day, but that didn't stop protesters. And as you can see again over here, another large window shattered. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to cover this up just in case there is a third night of protests in this area. And Governor Pat McCrory has issued a state of emergency and plans to send in state troopers to assist in case there is a third night of protesting. And even though just hours ago there were chants in the streets and yelling, tear gas going off, right now it's pretty quiet. The only sound you hear is the sound of brooms sweeping up glass and vacuums. Hope Ford reporting in uptown Charlotte.
Well, in that protest, our News 19 crew tells us they were attacked by agitators.
News 19's Mary Sturgill and our chief photographer Eric Alkire are recovering this morning after being caught in the middle of a violent protest.
Yeah, they were both taken to the hospital where doctors cleared them to return to their hotel just a couple of hours ago. I talked to them right after they left the hospital.
So, Mary, tell me what happened.
So my photog Eric and I were walking back to our live truck to charge our TVU batteries because we were getting ready to go live for the 11 o'clock shows. And someone had set a trash can on fire, so Eric was getting video of the trash can on fire. And then we continued to walk, and this person ran between us. We were walking pretty close together, ran between us and grabbed the cord to the TVU. And I realized what had happened, so I grabbed the cord to try to pull it back, and then this other guy came out of from our left and just basically sucker punched Eric in the side of the head. And then Eric fell to the ground, and he continued to punch him. I turned around to try to get him off of Eric, and that's when someone else tackled me. And I will say that two very good Samaritan women helped us out and got the guys off of us. And I do want to take this opportunity, Dion, to talk about there was a difference tonight or last night in the protests, the peaceful protesters, the people who were chanting love, the people who were standing between the police and the protesters, and people who I'm going to call them agitators because that's what police called them yesterday or the other day. And because these people were the people who were breaking windows and were looting stores and attacking us, and I know a CNN crew also got attacked as well. Those were different people. They were down there, they were causing ruckus, they were the ones throwing things, they were the ones breaking into stores and just being, just basically causing as much violence and mess as they could.
Going through this, how are you feeling right now? How are you?
You know, covering the protest, I thought it was very important that we stay right there in the front line with the police in front of the Omni Hotel for as long as we did. And I felt, other than the tear gas, because we got tear gas probably 3 or 4 times, because it drifted, where we were. And I described it earlier as kind of an ebb and flow. The police, had their line. Protesters had their line. Protesters would be screaming at police. Police would just be standing there, and then someone would get aggressive. Police would take that person into custody. And then the line would move down the street. And that's what it did pretty much for the entire 2 hours or over 2 hours that we were out there.
Final words, Mary.
Well, I think I want people to understand that it really was, there was a group of people down there who were trying to, exercise their right to a peaceful protest. And then there were the people who were down there just to cause problems.
Yeah. All right. Mary Sturgill, thank you so much for giving us this update, and you take care of yourself.
Thank you. I'm going to try to get some rest.
All right.
Thanks, Dion.
All right, again, at this point, they are now out of the hospital and recovering, and happy to hear that they are okay. Really taking us to the scene and what they were feeling and seeing and hearing.
Very scary.
And surreal moments. Again, a person was shot, and then just to be in the middle of that tear gas and really just watching history unfold in Charlotte. Certainly a story we are keeping a close eye on, and one that people around the nation are talking about.
Yeah, and one thing we want to make sure that everyone at home knows and understands, it was two separate groups, and group may not be the right word, but it started off peacefully, and then something just happened, and that's when all the violence started. And now the National Guard is in Charlotte to help with keeping the peace there. And a lot of you taking to social media to share your opinion on the protests in Charlotte. Let's start with Cody Ryan, who tweeted, "It's so strange to see a city so close to home in world news. Protesters, be careful, but don't give up sending power."
Andrew Seabolt saying, "What's going on in my city?" Hashtag Charlotte protests. Meanwhile, Spencer Fernando posting a picture on Instagram that reads, "While anger at injustice is understandable, there is a huge difference between peaceful protest and a violent riot. Violence will only widen divisions and create more fear and anger."
And Brianna tweeted saying, "Tonight was crazy, just in shock with what I experienced."
Well, people here in the Midlands also asking questions.
Yeah, they want to know about the procedures officers are taught before pulling the trigger. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Academy says it all boils down to 3 words: ability, opportunity, and jeopardy. If the suspect has the ability to hurt, the opportunity to hurt, and a life is in jeopardy, that's when an officer can make that decision. Students are trained to be 1 threat level above the suspect, but a trainer with the Law Enforcement Academy says it's all about practice.
We put people into situations where they have to think quickly and they have to make those split-second decisions. And whenever we do it and constantly do it, it kind of trains us on how to do it.
Well, Sullivan says the relationship between the cops and the community will always be a work in progress. We, of course, will continue to follow this story as it develops. For full coverage on the Charlotte chaos, just head to our website, WLTX.com.